Let me tell you what, I've had technical issues for like 4 of these videos now, and I've been just redoing the makeup every time, and I feel very confident in my Mr. Mistoffelees makeup now. Hi, I'm Tilly, and today's tutorial is how to do this Mr. Mistoffelees makeup from Cats the Musical. It rounds out my series of how to make a Cats cosplay, and it was a lot of fun to do. So you can check out the full series in the description below, but for now, let's get started with the makeup. Before we get started, let's talk prep. I've already washed, toned, and moisturized my face. The second thing for prep I would highly recommend is a makeup outline. Outline of my own face, that I've done a drawing of what the details are for each section of the face. And Mr. Mistoffelees doesn't have much color, but I also include the color and where everything goes. And then this just slips into a binder with me and travels with me so that I always have it on hand and know exactly what I need to be doing every single time. So I will put a list of all of the products that I'm using down in the description below, none of which are sponsors. First thing that I'm going to do is block out my eyebrows. I'm going to use the Kids non-toxic washable glue stick in purple. And then I'm just going to take a fine-tooth comb and comb through the eyebrows. And that's just going to help the glue really get in there and flatten the eyebrows down. And I'm going to let that completely dry before doing a second coat. For the white base, I'm going to be using Ben Nye's Cream Color Cup Makeup in white. Looks like this. White bases can be a little bit challenging because the makeup itself can be pretty opaque. It's hard to spread it and have it look even. What I'd recommend doing is actually spreading it around the skin first and then going in and patting it back to kind of really make it even and have it place the color all over. Gone ahead and just done the initial cover of white. This is definitely too thin and you can see my skin tone underneath. So the next step is going to be starting to pat the makeup into the skin to give it an even base. And you can already start to see the massive difference between what the spreading did versus patting down. Next, I'm going to work on the eyebrows just to blend it in a little bit more. I'm going to take a brush and some white paint and just apply it directly onto the space of where my eyebrows are to help blend it in, and then just pat to blend it out to the rest of the white. That is the white base. Now, I usually don't include this step for most of my makeup looks, but for Mr. Mistoffelees in particular, I really don't want the white base to move around or shift on me as I'm doing the more detailed lines, and it can be really easy to do that. So I'm actually going to take Neutral Set powder and go ahead and set just the base of the makeup. I'm just going to use a cotton ball, get it right in there, and be pretty liberal with setting this base. Once I have the powder everywhere, I'm going to use a nice fluffy brush and just brush off the excess. I am set and ready to go with the more detailed lines. I'm going to start with the Reflex Bronze Reflecting Glitter from MAC. This happens to be the one from the Wonder Woman collection, but I'm sure that there is a pretty easy dupe to find in the outer half of my eyelid and outer corner. And I'm gonna take it all the way up to the eyebrow. And then if you get some fallout, you can always brush it off with your brush. I'm using the Reflex Pearl, also from MAC. And I'm going to put that on the inner corner and then just blend it all the way. I'm just doubling up on the glitter on the outside. Next, what I'm going to do are the eyeliner details. What I'm going to focus on first is the eye swoop that goes around and kind of underneath my own eyebrow. I'm going to focus on using the contours of my own face and my own facial structure to be able to make it as even as possible on both sides. I'm going to take some black and a small flat brush, and I'm going to start on the upper liner and just do line the full top lid on both sides, and then bring the end up and around the eye socket to right underneath the eyebrow about halfway and taper it to a point. Next, I'm going to line the bottom eyeliner. I like to go about 3/4 of the way in to my eye because I don't like it to be too closed off. My eyes are pretty small, so I don't want to make them look even smaller. I'm just going to take that same black, same brush and line the bottom and then connect it to the outer corner. And then I'm going to go back in again now that my lines are drawn in and put a little bit more of the gold right at kind of that top of the circle. To finish off the eyeliner, I'm next going to add the corner point that help make you look more cat-like. It's going to help bring everything at a slant so that you do look more feline. And then following your tear duct will also, in the same philosophy of following your face shape, help with asymmetry. Okay, great, and that finishes the eyeliner. I'm going to use a wider brush here, and I'm going to go in with the gray. I follow the curve of my eye socket, and then we're going to get really close to the kind of bottom curve here of the eye detail, and then I'm just going to continue that line kind of towards the top part of my temple, and that's going to help with the elongation there. And we just kind of make a little swoop. Place the other one in by going from kind of where a little bit in from the tip of my eyebrow meets the circle, and then just take that and match it to the point at the temple there. And what I'm going to do next is blend one side of the line, but I'm going to kind of blend down a little bit to add some gray color at the bottom of the line. You'll see it here. I'm just going to take the brush and go probably halfway into that line and pull down just a little bit to give it a bit more color and blend it down. Last for the eyes, my finishing touch is going to be a dab of the gold glitter right kind of at that base where the thicker part of the gray, just at this bottom cheek part, creates kind of a little bit of a highlight. Next, we'll move on to the eyebrows. Mr. Mistoffelees has pretty thick eyebrows. In most of his designs throughout his history, he's got some pretty thick brows. So my design, I'm going to just create a swoop that's going to start at my own eyebrow and then follow the curve of the brow and into a parallel line at the swoop of the gray. Once you're generally happy with how they look, that's when the feathering starts. So I'm not mad that this one is a little bit thicker than this one because I think it'll just start to even out as I add the eyebrow kind of hair feathering. Okay, pretty happy with how that turned out. From there, I like to add just a slight dust of the gold glitter along the bridge of the nose. It's going to be really, really light because you don't want it to emphasize your own human nose, but it's just to add a little bit of that highlight shadow dimension. Okay, And then if you feel like you've overdone it, you can use your brush and just brush some of that off. From there, we'll work on the tip of the nose and the lips. We're just going to do kind of a heart shape at the tip of the nose and then down the side of the nostril, and then it will connect to the mouth. Now, Mr. Mistoffelees tends to have a different shape lip compared to everyone else. It's interesting, it tends to have a more triangle shape at the Cupid's bow to give it more of a pointed look at that line that we just drew, and then out to his, like the muzzle shape that they're given by adding the little triangles at the corner. And then remember that male cats only have their top lip painted in black, and usually the bottom lip is the same color as their muzzle. So if you can see it, his mouth kind of almost creates like a boat shape. From there, I like to give his bottom lip a little bit of detail by adding a small black line just underneath my bottom lip. Not all the way, just probably about the middle third section of my mouth. And then I'm also going to include a little bit of the gold. Just placed right underneath there. For his whiskers, most cats will either have dots at the lip or little triangles. I designed Mr. Mistoffelees to have little triangles. What I'm going to do is make sure my brush is nice and flat. And I'm going to take the black and just very gently dab just the tip so that it gives me an even kind of arrowhead shape. His whiskers go from the nasal labial folds, and I'm going to place a little bit of the gold glitter there first, and then we'll go in with the whiskers. And there we go, 3 whiskers. The last step for Mr. Mistoffelees' makeup is to add a feathering that would go on the side of the face. This design helps to blend the wig into the rest of the face. I'm just going to put some feathering at the kind of starting at the cheekbone and down to my jawline. And then once you're happy with how that looks, we can go ahead and set everything. I'm going to set with the neutral set again first. Once I have all the powder, I'm going to then brush it off. All right, as a final step, I'm going to use Final Seal, and that just helps lock everything into place. And finished! That rounds out Mr. Mistoffelees' makeup. I hope you enjoyed this video series. It's been a lot of fun to make Mr. Mistoffelees, and if you missed any of the other videos on how I made this cat's cosplay, I'll put it in the description below of the full playlist. And if you want to check it out or support me, feel free to like and subscribe, and it will keep you informed of all of my future cosplay adventures. I hope you have a magical day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!